Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar. My name is John Holmes Carrington from RTC North and I'm your host for this webinar. Just a quick run through as to what we're going to cover. We're going to do a quick introduction to OI2 Lab, a quick background to the pilot that we're going to be talking about, the outcomes of that pilot, and then we've got some lovely case studies from a couple of our voucher winners who've kindly agreed to share their experiences, and then we'll save our questions for the end after they've both presented. If anybody has any questions, can I ask if you can use the chat function available on your screens? A quick introduction to why we're discussing this, what this is all about. As it says there, in 2017, development of the OI2 Lab platform started. The OI2 Lab is designed as a platform to facilitate open innovation across borders. It was a platform developed across a number of organizations as a consortium throughout Europe, with the aid to demonstrating the capability of companies working together in open innovation using digital tools. By the end of the project, by the end of 2020, our goal is to, as it says, to offer sustainable digital platform for personal assistance to support SMEs with cross-border open innovation collaborations. In order to do this, we used a series of challenge calls available to businesses to enable them to put out what they were looking for in terms of the support they needed in order to be able to develop open innovation, in order to be able to develop their product using additional support provided by other organizations. By organizing these open calls, we decided that the best way to create awareness, to build and reach out to the European SME community, to offer personalized support to develop and improve SMEs and open innovation calls is through what we call challenges. At the same time, the OI2 Lab could test it and improve its services and tools, i.e. the platform itself and how it functioned, but also to develop and to verify whether there is an actual demand for SMEs, from SMEs of the offered platform and services, but also to ask SMEs for their feedback. So how do these challenge calls work? We decided to divide them into 2 rounds of calls. The first round between January and August of 2019 was a specific call to focus on mobile technologies for rapid event recording and analysis. This was a tailored call specifically focused on the automotive industry. It had been identified that there was a need to observe and monitor online fault recognition. So the idea was in conjunction with the Northeast Automotive Alliance and the Cluster Initiative Automotive Region Stuttgart to develop an opportunity for businesses to propose a solution to a major automotive manufacturer for them to look at implementing some kind of monitoring technology that they could use online. The incentives for those voucher winners, those SMEs, is a voucher of €5,000 to be spent during an innovation collaboration on purchasing a service or support or technological know-how from a third party. The second call between September 2019 and May 2020 was a much wider call. Rather than focusing on a particular sector of technology, we opened it up to applications from all SMEs who had an idea that they wanted to further develop and needed additional support and able to do so. So those project proposals to improve either existing product, services or process, or as it says there, to bring a new idea to life. Again, following the same model as the first round, we used an incentive of a €5,000 voucher to purchase support, technological know-how or assistance from another party. So over the 2 rounds, the OI2 Lab's goal was to select 40 of these highly motivated SMEs and to support them with those vouchers, but then also support these SMEs in their open innovation collaborations. So not just providing them with a voucher, but also providing with the support and the ability to find others to support them and work with them. Just as a quick recap of how those calls went, the first round, we received 7 proposals, applications from Greece, Portugal, Germany, and France, of which 4 were deemed worthwhile and given possibility to develop and go forward to look at presenting to the major motor manufacturer. The second round, we got a much larger response to a much wider sector, and we got applications, as you can see there, from 18 different countries. The majority from Germany, the UK, Greece, Spain, and the Netherlands. And there on the right are a selection of those voucher winners, 36 of whom were selected from those 67 applications. 2 of those voucher winners have kindly agreed to join us today and to present a little bit about their journey, the support they received from OI2 Lab and the advisors and account managers that worked with them. I'm actually going to ask if Paul, if you wouldn't mind going first. If I can ask you, I shall stop sharing my screen and allow you to share yours, but if you could take us through your journey of how the process was for you, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, bear with me. That one. Right, hopefully you can all see my screen now. So to go through my journey with OI2 Lab. My name is Paul Marshall. I run my own consultancy, Marshall DDP, working as an engineer in the world of scientists. And this grant, as I'll explain, it goes through.
Paul,
sorry, Paul.
Can't see your screen at the moment. Sorry.
Can you not see my screen? Excellent. That's a good start, isn't it? Can you see anything?
No.
Not from you at the moment, no.
Fantastic. Right, bear with me. Let's cancel out that then. Worked earlier. Right, anything this time?
Yes.
Now, is that in presentation mode there?
No, we can just see the slide editor. Yes, that was it.
Are we in presentation mode?
No, it came and then went. That's it.
Anything at the moment?
Yes.
Yep, that's perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Excellent. Right, let's go with this then. Okay. So as I was saying, I run Marshall DDPs, my own consultancy, working as an engineer. I recently acquired, as it says here, intellectual assets for a novel application for 3D printing. This came about due to a collaboration with some PhD research. We were developing a novel way for 3D printing for microfluidic devices. And the upshot is that this technology, we believe, is now ready for commercialization. The research has been done. We've got a technique that we believe there's a market for. So myself and a couple of colleagues are in the process of setting up a company to do this, which is different to Marshall DDP. Because this company, because Marshall DDP already was registered, we applied for the grant under my name. So our first remit is to do the market research to work out how big a business potential there is out there in the world. And we started looking around for a market research partner around the same time that we became aware of the OI2 Lab grant. And it seemed to, as I say, to offer the perfect solution here, to be introduced to a whole different field, a whole different industry and global network. So we were looking for a market research partner with good experience, who could also understand the technical, the scientific, the engineering aspect of the service we're trying to offer. So we can do this anonymously, because the field we're looking at is a very small, close-knit community globally. If I was to go around and start talking to potential customers, it would be obvious where the link was. So we wanted to do this anonymously to build up the business that way. So having filled in the application and then been successful with the voucher application, the first steps obviously is introduced to John as my account manager at RTC North, where we explained what it is we're trying to do, what this 3D printing technique that we've got is, and the market that we see ourselves going into, whether it's it ranges from the oil and gas industry through to medical diagnostics. John then took away the summary of what we were looking for. Him and his team then started looking into finding potential partners. Didn't take long before we were started to be introduced to companies. However, most of them were the kind of organization who would potentially benefit from our technique and be potential clients, as opposed to the sort of providing the business services that we were looking for. After a couple of months, we then were introduced to an organization based in Portugal called XYZ Lab, who are an additive technology specialist and also a marketing and commercialization company, which is the absolute perfect combination. So we're electronically introduced to Nuno XYZ. We've had several email exchanges detailing what's going on, followed by several long Skype conversations to understand their capabilities and to explain what we're looking for and establish the plan going forward. So XYZ were obviously very interested in getting involved. They could see the application of our technology and could really see what we're trying to do here. And then they could show us how they can demonstrate their marketing capabilities for us. So they provided a plan as to what they would like to do for us, which was fantastic. However, it was substantially over budget in the first pass. So they refined that to suit the budget that we have available to us. And so we've broken that down into two portions. One, providing the marketing and branding assistance, and also carrying out the market research of actually going into potential clients, potential customers, and seeing where we would sit with them. And the grant was awarded, the invoice was paid, and we actually have a kick-off meeting tomorrow to move things forward. So it took a few months to get there, but then it's only taken a matter of a couple of weeks to actually progress things through to actually setting things going. So my feedback on the whole process is that the open innovation has been fantastic for us. It's been exactly what we needed in terms of providing a much wider network, both geographically and technically, than we would otherwise have been exposed to based on our own experience and ultimately using LinkedIn. We've been introduced to lots of companies that we would never have considered approaching. Yes, we found several potential partners that weren't suitable, but that allowed us to explain in more detail what we were looking for. So we could explain to RTC more precise requirements of who we wanted to be working with. So they've ended up providing us to a connection with a fantastic marketing partner who we can then have exposure to their particular global market because they're already in the additive technology industry. So have access to their market as well, which will really spread things out. So I'm really looking forward to progressing things over the coming weeks. And that's the end. And so, as we said, we'll pass on to any questions at the end. So
Thank you, Paul.
I'll stop that now.
Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed. Right. And now I'm going to ask Joe if you'd be kind enough. Hopefully, there we go. Hopefully you should be able to see the screen now. Joe, just tell me when you want me to move the slides on.
Thank you, John. So hi, everybody. I'm Joe Ewell. My company is UCook Holdings Limited, and our product innovation is called Protein Pod. It's a product that is pre-launch, and we started engaging with RTC last year And then later on, towards the end of last year, in December, we started engaging with respect to applying for the OI2 Open Innovation Voucher, because we had many ideas of how we wanted to start rolling out the idea for Protein Pod beyond UK. So if we just flick to the next slide, please, John. Thank you. So our company was incorporated in 2018. The idea for Protein Pod has been in development for a lot longer than that. But we're still classed as a startup. Consists of one female employee, myself, 2 directors, and we're based in the northeast of England. And as it says in the slide, we are focusing on launching Protein Pod in this year, September of this year. So that is us. Protein Pod is a closed cooking vessel. I don't want to go into too much detail about the product, but it's designed at enabling smaller households to prepare healthy and nutritious meals quickly and easily without a lot of fuss and mess. So it's a convenience tool in the kitchen. It's a novel idea. Patent pending status was awarded towards the end of last year, but we should have our patent status in place by September of this year, which is around the time we're hoping to launch the manufacture. So really at this stage of the journey, we were keen to find investment for research and development to be able to input. We're on the 4th prototype of the product at the moment. So it's an absolutely key and critical time for us to be able to gain feedback, understand what we need to be putting in and leaving out of the product. So that is the opportunity we saw with OI2. We understood the benefit of partnering up in Europe to do that, and saw an opportunity there with the OI2 lab to do that and be able to assess the potential market. It's probably a bit like Paul mentioned with their company. We wanted to see if there was a demand beyond the UK. The next slide, please, John. Thank you. So similarly, initial kickoff meeting with John once we got the great news that we'd been awarded the voucher. Spoke to John and Claire Robinson at RTC, who have been fantastic from day one and really got us energized to get moving. From that point forward, we were given from them contact details from a number of different suppliers. And we started engaging with these people, mainly on email. There was a lot of opportunity for different areas. We were looking at doing some market research, potentially going across to Spain to do some cooking tests with an olive oil manufacturer. So it was really exciting. And then COVID-19 happened. So that kind of put the kibosh on any travel. And so we decided to sort of pivot and refocus a little bit. And ultimately we ended up engaging with a prototype supplier in Poland. And we were introduced to these people through our existing product designers. So we used an existing relationship to kind of streamline that, given the challenges of not being able to travel. Some pre-investment was required from us on that front in order to forward that relationship. So we made an arrangement to have them produce some existing parts for the product before we went forward with and decided whether to use them. But it was great to have the support via our designers up here in the northeast of England, because they already had the existing relationship. To pop onto the next slide, please, John. So the outcome, fantastic result for us. A massive step forward for the next prototype. being able to use our designers and their existing relationship really facilitated the process. It was seamless from our point of view. And we are looking to establish a longer term partnership with them. We're, once the prototype is received and tested, potentially we might be able to consider them as a manufacturer for us going forward from September. So lots of positives there for us. We felt very supported from the get-go. Obviously, from a financial point of view, fantastic to know that we had that funding there to spend. So it felt like a really great prospect to be able to engage anywhere across Europe. Like I say, challenges thrown up by COVID, which was unforeseen, obviously. But we had a great response. Partners who already had the link through RTC North, they were responsive, they were enthusiastic, and it was really great to have that dialogue. But from our point of view, again, we achieved a great step forward, and it was an extremely positive process for us. So we're really grateful. And that's everything from me. Thank you, John, for operating the slides.
Thank you, Jo. Thank you very much indeed, both of you, in fact. I'm just going to, as it said there, yes, if anybody has any questions, if they wish to post them now, if you want to use the chat function. I'm just going to share. Please, if you could do so now, use the chat function, post them there, and I can post them to the our two presenters. I haven't received any questions yet. Let's have a quick look. However, I've got a couple of quick questions if I can kick things off, if I can address to both of you. Obviously, the whole purpose of the OI2 lab was to demonstrate how this kind of tool could support businesses. Would this have been a way that you would have engaged with potential partners previously? Or having gone through the OI2 lab process, are you doing something different?
I'll jump in first then. I certainly wouldn't have considered it prior to having the OI2 competition sort of being advertised. I would have gone through a very traditional, I suppose, way of searching for a market research partner, of trying to find a recommendation from a contact perhaps, or scouring LinkedIn or Google, trying to find someone who can do it. So by being introduced to OI2 Lab, it made life a lot easier, and it's certainly a way I would consider working in the future. So if I was looking to for a much wider network of partners, I would try and find an organisation that can do that for me in the first place, and that's where OI2 Lab really has been useful to me.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I think having the warm lead, the warm contact from yourselves just made what could be potentially quite a daunting prospect very accessible.
Okay, thank you. I mean, COVID aside, was the process any faster than perhaps historically would have been, or is it just an alternative route? Has it affected the way you do, the way you engage with potential businesses?
It's the first time I've ever done anything like it, so I can't really compare.
Right.
So it definitely has been the right way for me to do it, and it's definitely the way I'd proceed things in the future. Interesting point you're saying about has COVID got in the way, or trying to ignore that aspect. I don't think that would be at all relevant, because of working internationally with international partners. It's really, if anything else, COVID has improved things by increasing the use of Zoom, of Skype, and so on like that, and that's become much more normal over the last few months. And that's the way we work. So you could be working with the person next door, you could be working with someone on the other side of the world. We're now a lot more used to working that way. So, you know, international open innovation has definitely been improved over the last few months. So it's been an interesting case study in that case.
Thank you. Yes, I suppose the ability to be able to communicate and engage, you know, cross borders electronically has actually been really proven in the current circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
You've sort of both alluded to the fact that it would be a way that you'd anticipate potentially working going forward. Is there anything you do differently, or anything you think we could have done differently?
I think probably the only thing we could have done differently to be more efficient, we could have perhaps explained in greater detail earlier what we were looking for. So obviously we went down quite a handful of blind alleys trying to find potential partners. But I think equally, each one of those, that allowed us to refine the search criteria that much better. So maybe that was the only way that we could have proceeded. So that's possibly the only improvement we could have done, and that's down to my own lack of communication with yourselves.
Okay. Thank you.
I would say, John, what really helped, what really facilitated it from our point of view was, you know, when we first met yourself and Claire, you instantly you understood the product, our product, which was a great benefit. But sometimes if that potentially that initial meeting hadn't gone so well, and that, you know, there was any grey areas, I don't know whether something like a video, like a showcase of the product might have helped. I don't know, sort of drilling down that initial search to find the right partners might have facilitated it slightly.
Okay, no, that's a fair comment. Thank you. Interesting though that actually it's that initial discussion that seems to have been the bit for both of you that's the key, the important bit. And actually the opportunity to engage electronically is really useful, but that sort of personal touch of understanding what you're actually wanting and needing seems to be something that's been key for both of you.
Yeah.
I'm just looking to, are there any further questions from anybody else watching online? Right, it would appear not. So all it remains for me to do is to say thank you to both of you. Thank you for participating in the process, but also thank you for sharing with us how it went for you and your thoughts. Obviously, the idea is for this to continue. That obviously open innovation collaboration is something that we're keen to take forward. So if anybody does have any feedback or anything that they've seen or experienced that they'd like to feedback to us, we'd be more than welcome to receive that. But thank you both to you both today. Thank you for watching, and take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.